It was a dark, stormy night in 2013, when life was simpler, society was happier. The only thing that mattered was the engagement on your Tumblr blog, and house prices were actually arguably they probably still weren't affordable. And I, Jacky, was a mere fetus curled up in bed, scrolling through DeviantArt looking for artists whom had their requests open, rather than their commissions, for I was a poor, dependent child whom had already spent all her pocket money on her 15th Sims 3 DLC pack. R.I.P. DeviantArt. You saw the worst of me. It was during this time of monumental growth and self-discovery in my life that I, among many other Gen Z children, found themselves wasting their time away in fandoms such as the Harry Potter or Percy Jackson fandoms. Or if you were unlucky, you stumbled across one Warrior Cat book in the public library and then became dangerously close to becoming a furry. After consuming a 23rd installment, of course. Seriously, I don't actually know to this day how many books are in that series, but if I have to take a guess, it's probably too many. And when I wasn't reading a shit ton of fantasy books, I was wasting my time generally in two other areas. A, playing as many MMOs as I could get my hands on, or it was watching YouTubers like, God, who was back then? I mean, PewDiePie, for starters, of course, my king forever and always. Dan and Phil, Smosh, Zoella, Shane Dawson. He'd probably like the Warrior Cat series, actually, now that I think about it. But this video is not about the YouTubers I watched or the games I played back during my formative years, because while I wasted away a plethora of hours on both tucked in at home, I couldn't really do either during school hours. But in my final years of primary school, I quickly discovered something I could do and proceeded to continue doing all the way up until essentially high school. And that was write. Because writing is good, literature is educative, and more importantly, I was blessed enough to be given essentially free rein in school to write about whatever I wanted. And oh boy, I did. And I brought many with me. If you were to speak to any of my friends who knew me back in the wee old days, they will gladly tell you about the time I ran a fanfic cult. It's not the proudest moment of my life. Almost every single day, I would rock up to school, gather around all my friends, and convince them to spend far too much time than they should have writing awful pieces of literature together. I believe that writing for at least 3 hours every single school day probably altered our brain chemistry to some degree, but essentially the way in which I'd operate this little cult is I would find us a secluded place to sit during free time, or hell, even class, man. We would do this in science class and math class. I hope my principal's not watching this. Then we'd make a Google Drive document that would be shared all around, and we'd proceed to collaboratively work on our designated fine crafted piece of literature for the day or week, or literally however long it took until we got over writing about whatever that topic may have been. Specifically, it was about how a character looked in excruciatingly extensive detail. And then maybe we got a chapter or two done per person until we got bored and just moved on to the next thing. Without further ado, allow me to forcibly stuff you into a metaphorical time machine with me, take you back to a simpler, happier time, where I spent my days blithe and unshackled, probably missing out on at least 3 years worth of the educative curricula system, because I was too busy, running a fanfiction cult every single day of my school life. There is literally a Library of Congress worth of writings I could share with you, but for the sake of time and just not wanting to completely tarnish my digital footprint forever, I'm gonna share probably like 4. And there's no better place for me to start than right at the very first collaborative group fanfiction that we did. The pinnacle of my cult writing formula. This fanfiction was called This Is Not a Diary. I know that one of my friends is going to be watching this, is going to be trembling in terror hearing that. I don't think I've actually divulged this information to any of my friends at the time, or ever. The inspiration behind the This Is Not a Diary franchise was derived from a little old website called Chicken Smoothie. I don't actually know if that site was even real. Honestly, I feel a little bit like a fever dream, but from my best recollection, it was one of those simple browser sites where you'd basically just adopt 2D drawings of animals and then trade or breed them. The real predecessor for NFTs, honestly. And it was there, in that random ass fucking site, I remember reading a thread where people would write self-insert fanfics or something, which would title, This Is Not a Diary, it's a blank. And I took this to the drawing room. I sat my friends around the big round table. I slapped that shit on the whiteboard and I said, this is what we're doing. This is not a diary, it's a textbook. Hi diary, I'm Alex. My mom got me you because she said it's good to express my feelings. I just think that's a joke. Why would I need to express my feelings anyway? I can express them wherever I am. Totally missing the point. First of all, I must admit, diary sounds stupid. I need to change your name at least. What can I call you? Potato? No, as much as I love potatoes, potato just doesn't fit. I don't even like potatoes. Banana? I'm not a minion. Journal? No, sounds too much like a diary anyhow. Textbook? Clearly. Yes, I'll call you textbook from now on. But let's get to describing my character. Finally, me. I'm written in this awesome blue pen because blue is the best color in the universe, in my perspective anyway. It's my favorite color and it always seems like I relax when writing with it. That doesn't make any sense. I have blonde hair and chocolate brown eyes. For reference, I used to have blonde hair as a kid before it darkened, so this is just a self-insert. My usual look would be black chucks, black denim shorts, and a white singlet. I also like to wear sunglasses, so sometimes it just sits on my head for the whole day. What? Well, I hope now you're familiar with me and my family. I think I'm going to have to go to bed. Tomorrow's a big day, my first day at Westview High School. Oh god. See you later, textbook. Well, that was definitely a wake-up call about how awful it's gonna be rereading the shit aloud, but... Hey textbook, it's me, Alex again. Today's my first day at Damn. Wait, what? Okay, I don't know what that... I walk into school, shortly stopped by a queue blocking my what queue spelled wrong. I frown, peering over the other people's heads. At the beginning of a queue stood a tall, slim girl with perfect blonde hair and sparkling blue eyes. She was slightly tanned and rather stunning, but the frown that she wore on her face broke her image. I know what she's doing. Sorting people into groups. Huh? I don't know where the stereotype came that in high school they would sort you into nerds, emos, outcasts, etc. because like, it just doesn't exist. Like, You're kids, man. I'll list all the people and take photos of them, seeing how I have my... Firstly, that's creepy as fuck. Secondly, obviously we didn't have any photos. We didn't have enough time to go on DeviantArt and, search up our self-inserts. But honestly, oh my god, imagine if AI art was a thing when we were kids writing this. I'm glad there's a power we did not have. Hey, textbook. It was lunchtime. Everyone had crowded at the cafeteria to get their share. Me and Kaylee stood, trays awaiting, seeking food. It was my first lunch and the sight of the food was making my mouth water. After getting lunch, we sat down at the table just opposite the table where Tiffany and the rest of the popular group were sitting. I sighed, trying to ignore them. I turned to Kaylee, who was in the middle of eating a salad with a cupcake beside it. Do you like salads? Huh? I knew it was probably the stupidest question I could have asked, but I didn't know what else to say. The cafeteria was bustling and I could barely hear my own thoughts. I glanced at Kaylee and she raised an eyebrow at me, kind of confused. Oh, I actually can't. There's like parts of this that I cannot roleplay even for the sake of this video. I spun around and Kaylee looked up from her salad, wide-eyed. Dang it. Tiffany and her popular group, seated at the table opposite from us, burst out into laughter. Tiffany walked up, strutting around our table. She suddenly scooped up the salad from Kaylee's grip. How the fuck do you scoop up salad? Unless it's in like a plastic container, like I guess I could see that going, but that was not specified. She just fucking scooped that shit up in her little acrylic pink nail hand. Suddenly scooped up the salad from Kaylee's grip and in a swift movement dumped it onto my head. Do you like salad? She sneers, laughing. Another outrage of laughter from the popular group. Kaylee shocked. Hey princess, at least she doesn't have devil horns above her head. Oh really? Check twice. Angrily, I did whatever I could think of. I glanced at a small chocolate cupcake sitting next to Kaylee. This poor girl's lunch is out the window. I scooped it up to my palm before aiming at Tiffany's face. It hit her perfectly blushed face, chocolate dripping all over her. The popular group, they gasped. Kaylee stood up behind me, also shocked. But behind her bewilderness, she seemed to be amused. Bitch, I wouldn't be amused if two separate people had come and taken my lunch and just start a fucking food fight in the cafeteria. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to eat now, you know? I'm not gonna do that. Somebody laughs. Tiffany and her group, Kaylee and I turned around. On the other side of the cafeteria, you know what's gonna come to this, but like for a minute I momentarily forgot about it. On the other side of the cafeteria, a tall, brown-haired, hazel-eyed jock stood laughing. Tiffany, still covered with cupcake on her face, scowled at him. She must know him, I figured. But in the corner of my brain, that wasn't my biggest concern. In fact, I couldn't seem to stop staring at him. Unlike me, who's literally melting on the spot, Tiffany seemed to be on the warpath. Mace, how dare you? What the fuck is it? I remember in conversation with one of my friends, whom I believe was Kaylee, in this. I could be wrong. We read back on this a few years when we were actually in high school, go figure, and she burst into laughter for a good 5 minutes over the fact I named this jock Mace. Mind you, I've never met anyone in my life called Mace. I've never met a jock in my life. And Mace is an awful name, so she has every right to abuse me. How dare you disgrace me? I thought you loved me. Dramatic sniff, but at the same time outraged. Mace. Oh, he blushes. Sorry. Tiffany stares at him, eyes bulging, before she storms away to the girls' bathroom. Seriously? Is Mace Tiffany's boyfriend? I must be dying on the spot right now. You've seen this man for a good 2 seconds. The popular group gazed back where Tiffany had disappeared, then looked back at their food and continued eating slowly. They were so cool until their boss Tiffany left, and now they looked absolutely hopeless. Kaylee eyed me warily. My cupcake. I sighed. Come on, you can always get another cupcake later. Kaylee frowns. My older sister, Nonna, bakes cupcakes for me. She's great at it. But she said she won't bake another batch of cupcakes until tomorrow for our sleepover. I raise eyebrow. Your sister bakes cupcakes for you? Why am I judging her for that? That's actually so sweet. I look back. Mace is still standing where he was, hands in ripped jeans, uncomfortable facial expression. I gaze at him for a while before I shortly awaken with a slap. Ow, what was that for? Kaylee, you like Mace? Maybe, maybe not. She laughs. Yeah, you do. Come on, go talk to him. I can't do that. He's Tiffany's boyfriend. I'm not a homewrecker. She sighs. Dude, so? She left to have a temper tantrum in the bathrooms, putting on 13 layers of lip gloss. This is your chance. Maybe I'm a homewrecker. I stared at her for a while as though she was crazy, but I knew she was right. I glanced back at Mace, admiring, well, how good looking he was. Kaylee just laughed, pushing me forward. I hesitated before making my way towards Mace. He looked around before noticing me. It's fine. I was like, enticing me? Like, damn. Hi. Chokes on own words. I'm Mace. You? He offers. Take his hand. Tingling with excitement. Tingling? In what world are you so excited to hold someone's hand that starts tingling? Anyway, we're gonna cut to another day or entry in the textbook. I don't bother rushing home to get changed. I'm already wearing a white singlet with sequins. Sequins? We all agree to be nice for some reason. I don't know why. Why do we have to be nice to people that are literal bitches to us? That makes no sense. Do not stand by this message. Tiffany suddenly speaks up. Since we're being nice and all, let's go back to my place. It's the biggest. I roll my eyes, but try not to make it too obvious. Tiffany won't ever change. Well, we'll leave you two girls to it. We have to, go now. Tiffany, what? You're leaving? Mace, yeah, but you guys can go back to Tiffany's place. I gape at him, shocked, but Mace and Ethan quickly hurry away. We mediated this. We have, for some reason, brought these girls together for no judgment of their own, and we're out. She speaks. Well, we better get going to my place now, I guess. She calls someone. I want my limo in front of Starbucks now. Tiffany slowly leads me out of the Starbucks and out in the open. Outside, a shiny white limo is parked. First, I expect Tiffany to walk past it, but she stops in front of it, clicks her fucking fingers, and the doors just slide open. Eyes wide, rather confused, I step inside and sit down. The limo starts up and begins to drive to her place. You own a limo? I'm kind of surprised, but kind of not. I mean, I wouldn't expect Tiffany to have a limo. At the same time, she's easily capable. This is such a stupid sentence. She eyes me. What the fuck does eyes me mean? But then she remembers to be polite. I guess. I glare at her and she bites the corner of her lip. Suddenly an awkward silence occurs. The limo comes to a stop and one of the pearl-colored doors slide open. Tiffany walks out as if she just stepped on a red carpet. I hop out, gazing up in awe. Tiffany's house is huge and looks like a prime minister's mansion. I'm shocked. Wow, you have a really nice place. Thanks. She walks aside and I plainly follow her. We're walking through a polished, sleek hall when she suddenly turns to me. Look, I don't exactly want you here, and I know you don't want to be here either, but do you see Sylvie? I look past my shoulder and see a dull-looking woman staring at us. Okay. Tiffany, she's our maid, and Ethan has paid her to watch us. So you're going to have to stay here, whether you like it or not. This one was very fondly called the Not So Medieval Story, though originally we did just title it the Medieval Story, until one of my friends insisted that we wrote a scene in which had a Starbucks, so I had to adjust it slightly. It's definitely just the exact same shit as the This Is Not a Diary stuff, but we just put ourselves in a medieval scene. or at least we try to, the not so medieval story. Fortunately for me, this one is not written like a script that's melting apart, so hopefully it should be a little less excruciating for me to get through. But I'm just gonna skip a little bit ahead with this one. Trust me, you're not missing out on much. She put a finger to her lips, slipping out of the room. The house was dark, only illuminated by the light of the moon outside, pouring out from the windows. She tiptoed down the hallway. It was rather difficult though, because the flooring was polished wood. She disappeared into the shadows, the front door coming into a view. Slowly she opened the door, leaving it open enough for Luke to follow. Claire's house was just a street away. The polished wood floor of the house soon turned to the rough cobble of the paths. There is too much emphasis on the flooring right now. Abby admired the surroundings. The lampposts were always burning, and the fountains were always working too. Huh? It was weird, being so quiet. Usually the streets are bustling with market traders and villagers and basically just anyone else. But that wasn't too bad for Abby. I should preface this. My character was such a narcissist in this. I have no idea why I chose to write such an excruciatingly annoying character, but she's so frustrating to read. So frustrating to just write. I don't know why I opted for the decision. It was a horrible one. Whenever she went outside, everyone's heads would turn. She was well known in the village. The girl with the amber hair and blue eyes. It was an unusual appearance, with so icy blue eyes and copper-tinted brown— okay, girl, you just said. But Abby wasn't fond of the attention. She liked to be independent, to hold her head high. God. Luke looked around the empty village, his head held high as he looked at the stars and the bright moon that was still lighting everything. So fully written. But at night, it was even more magical. When he walked through the markets in the morning, the girls in the village would always come up to him, flirting with him and fluttering their eyelashes insanely. He loved the attention, but he wasn't interested in that sort of way. That just sounds like he's fruity. Well, here we are. Abby turned her gaze to Claire's house. The window to Claire's room was just an inch open. She figured if maybe she opened it up a little bit and called her name, Claire would wake up. And how are we supposed to get up there, he asked, rather interested in her answer. Abby locked gaze with her brother. It was basically just tree logs stacked on each other, providing easy footholds. She slightly pushed the window open. Claire, she whispered, you in there? She pushed her chin upwards, making sure her appearance was good, even if it was the middle of the night and she was visiting her best friend. She has a problem. Luke's hands and feet placed on the first log. He eventually made it up without slipping once. His head poked inside of the window next to Abby. This is so strange. This poor girl is asleep in bed and you have two siblings. Basically the head's like shoved through the window. Be like, hello? Like that's freaky. That's scary. Claire's eyes snapped open as soon as she heard Abby's soft whisper, her dark blue hair falling into her eyes. She sat up immediately. Abby, she asked, rubbing her eyes. What are you doing, you nutter? I don't know why my friend wrote that. She is not British. Why is she insulting the absolute knobhead?
Listen, knobhead. If I want to have a swim in my own bin on the hottest day that we've ever had in England, then I'm entitled to do so.
What are you doing, you nutter? It's the middle of the night, Claire said. Her golden eyes immediately locked with Luke's. Luke? She turned red at the sight of him. What are you doing here? You don't just climb into a girl's bedroom window in the middle of the night. Amen. Luke chuckled slightly as his cheeks turned slightly pink. He looked at Claire. Well, maybe this girl is different, he replied before, without hesitation, slipping his body through the window and sitting on the windowsill. This poor girl just said, what are you doing? This is freaky. And he goes, oh, my bad. And just launches himself into a bedroom anyway. I blushed. You guys are crazy. What did you hope to accomplish coming here? Abby slightly smiled, tumbling onto Claire's bed. I don't know. See how you're going. Anything new? But she's been sleeping. I cringed, hesitating a bit. No, never mind. It doesn't really matter. Luke looked at her, concerned about what she might have been hiding. Are you sleeping with another guy? Come on, Claire, you know you can tell us, he assured, fiddling with his fingers as he kept a close eye on her movements. What a freak! Abby nodded slowly, brushing away a few strands of loose hair. Claire, I'm your best friend, right? She paused, turning to Luke. And he is, well, your secret admirer. Oh. Claire glabbed at Abby. Don't be stupid, she snapped sharply. Abby didn't say anything. She was very short of facial emotions, but you could tell she was amused. Luke glared at his sister. Don't be jealous, you don't even have a boyfriend, he retorted rather sassily. Of course I don't, Abby growled, her eyes narrowing. I don't need anyone. Anyway, if I did get a boyfriend, all the other boys would be... So, why were you hesitating before? Tell me what happened, he said, pushing himself off the windowsill and sitting next to Claire. helping out, you know, with the firewood, stacking it up against a house. Claire paused, glancing at the window. That's probably how you invaded my room in the first place, isn't it? Abby stared at her best friend, raising an eyebrow. Okay, yes, that's how we got in. Hurry up, spill. There's a strange figure, like a pitch black animal. So there's an animal. You saw an animal. Luke's eyes shot towards her. What do you mean? He inquired. I don't know, I've never seen anything like it. Shaped like a wolf. Abby's eyes suddenly widened. She loved Okay, we're gonna cut through this again. Oh. This was just so much unnecessary drama and jealousy and relationships that completely strays away from the fact that we live in a medieval village, probably in the 1800s, are so susceptible to getting fucking malaria any minute. And there's a big bad wolf on the loose and nobody cares because they're too busy drinking at a fucking Starbucks. And wait, he opened his messages. There's phones now? And there we have it. I think it's about time I drew this video to a close because there's only so much more childhood writings I can share with you before I start to shrivel up and wither away in shame. But should there ever be any questions about why I am the person I am, you know, as they like to say, everything stems from the childhood, and child me did not necessarily have older present me's best interest in mind. As for my beloved little fanfic cult, primary/middle school, you know who you are. I'm still friends with multiple of those people to this day, and I can imagine they would have had a lot of traumatic flashbacks going through this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this at my own self-sacrifice. That kind of felt like closure a little bit, I think. I don't know if that did more good or harm for me. Yeah, I kind of just had him here because I felt like he kind of suited my thing that I have going with the blue light glasses. Thought I felt a little smart and thought he was quite appropriate. Yeah, this video is so chaotic. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.